guys, here come the dollies. They got fresh sinkers, hot coffee, and the sweetest smile.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Clubmobile.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us.
We have another really great episode for you today. Joining us is Spike White, who portrayed Charlie Beer in Masters of the Air. Spike, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Good, us too.
Us too.
Good.
We've been very excited about this one.
Yes.
I have just shared off record how Spike and I indirectly know each other purely because we lived in England.
Yeah.
We just knew each other randomly.
It's a British thing, apparently.
It must be.
I'm learning this as time goes on. Yes.
We all know each other. One of the first things we always ask the guys and girls that have been in the show was, what was your audition process like? Were you offered the role of Via immediately, or was it like an open call situation where you were put in a group and sort of filtered down?
So I come this time it was really moving into, it was COVID, so everyone was doing self-tapes for one or Zoom calls. I came into it quite late in the casting. I was a lot younger than the rest of the cast. Everyone was sort of 25 and I was just 20 by the time that this role came along. So for me, it was a self-tape, and I taped for a character called Gunnar. Not like Gunnar, but Gunnar. And I did two scenes. I did a scene which I was in the tail gun position, which was fitting because that's what most of my stuff in the show was. And then we did the interrogation sequence after that. So we did two scenes and a little slate, sent it in, and 3 days later I found out I was going to go to boot camp. And I remember thinking, I haven't left my house in 8 months. Oh my God.
Shit, yeah. You haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah. I was
oh
like,
my God.
Did they tell you the same thing that they told Dara when he went to boot camp, was just pack a pair of trainers?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Trainers, and if your phone's on, you're gonna get the shit beaten out of you. So,
oh my God.
Leave your phone in your trailer because Captain Dye is terrifying.
He's a scary man.
He is. He's actually lovely. Yeah. I really like the guy, but yeah, he is scary, and there's a lot of respect for the guy. Actually, a lot of respect for the whole team. I'm still in touch with some of them. They're really helpful to have them around the whole time. Really helpful. So
a lot of people have said that in comparison to the Band of Brothers boot camp and the Pacific boot camp, this was the softest Captain Dye had ever been.
Yeah. I mean, for
he
one, we
still beasted you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he'd yell at you, and like if you took off your hat at the wrong time, he'd make you drop down, do a bunch of press ups. I don't know about the kind of language I can use here. I could quote him.
Oh, this is fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good.
There was this one time we were practicing on the 50 caliber machine guns here. I still got the shell from the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my gun jammed, and I couldn't get it to unjam because the feeding tray was upside down and everything was wrong. And he turns around and he goes, "Now I know what it looks like when a monkey fucks a gun." So it was a lot of stuff like that.
That's
it turns out
Captain
shit down your neckline is an actual thing that they say. So
that is so funny.
We continue to bring you the Dale Dye impressions on this podcast, guys.
I think this was my favorite.
This one might be my favorite.
This is the best one.
There's plenty more.
This might be my favorite. Oh my gosh.
Which group were you in for boot camp? Were you in one of the first ones, or were you
one of the
later?
You were in the first one.
Yeah. I don't really know what happened across all of them. Look, I've got this here. This is the photo that we took at the end of boot camp once we'd all gotten our wing.
Oh, that's
how cute!
I'm tucked right over here next to John Whitby, who was our Master Sergeant, and you got Exo Smokey right there, and
Mike Smokey,
Dale Dye's over there.
Look at that.
There he is.
I scatter around pretty much everyone that. It's crazy because I look at this photo. There's more people here than I've known, like in 10 years. I met them all in sort of one day, and I can name every single one of them, both of their names. I remember everything and everyone.
I love that.
That's great.
Experience like that, it's it never really goes away.
Yeah.
And if you're wandering around on a film set now and you run into someone and you both figure out you're on Masters, you turn around and go, "You're a Masters boy."
It's you.
You have that sort of that bond together. It's quite funny like that.
That's adorable.
That's
I love
great.
that because you were obviously so together during COVID and you couldn't leave or and you only had each other to hang out with for
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
entire.
well, I mean, we were staying at these hotels and stuff, and we were always all together. And there was a bar that we used to go to, which was pretty much just us. So we all got really close really quickly. And 5 years goes by. We've all moved around the country. Some of us have changed careers around the world, in fact. And we don't talk as much as we once did, but we still have our group chat. So on
Oh,
WhatsApp.
that's adorable.
That's so
That's nice to
sweet.
have, yeah.
I love that.
Going through all the memories, and I think because 5 years ago today, we started filming. I think, yeah, we finished the boot
That
camp.
is so
Wow.
perfect. My God.
We just started shooting today, and that will be the chapel crew story, which is so embarrassing. I don't want to tell you about it, but I will.
Please,
if you want to
you
know.
mentioned it now. Go ahead.
There was on the first day of the shoot, I came in, I got into my costume early, I got into makeup, and everyone was like, "Wow, Spike, you're Sprite, you're ready to go." And I was like, "I'm just really excited to be here, man."
Yeah.
And they bring everybody out, and it's going to be a scene in the dance hall. They have a band on, and everything's looking great. And they say, "Okay, all these people, go to the location. You guys," and they call out 5 of us. There's 5 of the bigger guys, and then myself. And I was like, "Okay, here we go." They say, "You're part of chapel crew." I'm thinking, "Oh, this sounds good. What's chapel crew?" We sat in a makeshift fake chapel for the next 2 days, filming nothing. That was it. We were just there in case they needed us.
That's sick.
It took me 3
That's
weeks
really rude.
in front of a camera, yeah, but I was in every day the whole time.
Oh my God.
That's really bad.
That was my lowest point of the whole shoot, and then from then it was easy sailing. Everything was great.
That was like going from the highest point to bang,
all
the way down.
Right, you come in and you're like, "Yes, let's go.
I'm ready.
I'm ready."
Yeah.
You're gonna go sit in this room. You're gonna go sit in
this.
this room every day for a week and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty
horrific.
dull at that point, but
I don't even think
I
there is a
bet.
scene in the chapel on the base.
No,
if I
they
think
just-
about
No, I
it. There
don't
might
know-
be
I don't know if
a
there is, yeah.
blip, like
yeah, I think
blink and you
a
miss
couple-
it.
Yeah, some of the buildings were reused as well for other things,
Yeah.
sets and stuff like that.
Right.
Because the airbase was obviously rebuilt, and you can find aerial photos online from the time.
Right.
But I think, a lot of the time you'd see those buildings. Like sometimes one of the bunkhouses would be turned into a canteen or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Or a storage room or something. So it got shook up all the time. Yeah, it's always clever tricks of camera work. For instance, the trench that they stand in when the air raid happens, I think it's at the end of episode 2 or episode 3.
Yes.
That trench was only 2 meters long, but it looks like it stretches on a mile. At least that
It
time.
does,
Yeah.
because you're all in
Yeah,
there.
it looks like you can really see everybody
Camera,
kind of lined up in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's clever little camera tricks, but that's how you
Very,
get away
very
with it.
good.
That's
They didn't take the
incredible.
planes. That's the important stuff. All the planes that you see on the ground were all real. They were very big, and they were very, very daunting to be around.
Wow.
Oh, I bet. Absolutely, I bet.
Pastimes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about your research into VIA. Was it sort of you were given a folder or something, or
Yeah.
were you given the contact information of the family right off the
No,
bat?
it was pretty difficult at first, to be honest. When I got there, I found a website which is dedicated to the 100th, and it had the names of all people on it. I found everything out about Justice Snappen and Blakely's crew. And then via the page had his date of birth, the date he passed away. It said he was seriously wounded in combat and that he was from a town called Clifton Forge, Virginia, and a few other sprinkled things. And that, for the longest time, was all I could find. I couldn't find any family. I couldn't find anything. I really did try. Right up until one of my last days on the shoot, it was the day I'd finished all the volume, which is the stuff inside of the plane. And I came off the set and finished. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. Got in the car and turned on my phone finally, and I'd had a message from his daughter that day. She'd reached out to me, and she wanted to just say hello and say that it was so nice that this was happening for her father. And
That's very sweet.
That's
we
so
spoke the
sweet.
next day. She sent me loads of details on him, loads of stuff, and everything you'd want to know,
Right.
and more. And then so it was towards the end of the shoot that I found out all the real information. I mean, most of it was about his life after the war, anyway, family life and such. But he was basically a figment of my imagination. My granddad was a Lancaster bomber pilot. So in my head, I
Amazing.
actually based them off of my own grandfather, just to
Right.
sort of try and make some image of a man in my head that wasn't just a
Yeah.
picture of a guy.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of how it worked for me. It was difficult to find out. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we struggled with initially with finding, and this is obviously years after you guys have filmed. This was
Right.
a year,
Yeah.
2 years after. We couldn't find anything, and of course we would turn to the same website you did.
Yeah.
And when it came to us doing an episode on Bremen for the anniversary,
Hmm.
we got in touch with our friend from the National Archives, and she sent us this plethora of information. And then unfortunately, that's how we found out about how Via did pass away.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
sent us a trigger warning as well, didn't she, Gabby? She said,
She did.
make sure that you're sat down reading this
Yeah.
because he died in a self-inflicted manner, and it's really incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that for you, finding that out? You knowing that you have to act out and portray this really harrowing experience and knowing that it ended
Well,
like
by the
that.
time I'd found that out, I had sort of like a false wrap. I thought I'd wrapped, and then I ended up we did some reshoots of the Algeria landing, so I did get to touch back base a little bit later on. But as I said, I'd finished the volume, and I'd come home, and she had sent me this manuscript that her brother had put together, and on the first page of it, the first line was, "I can only imagine what was going through my father's head when he made the plans he did." And as soon as I found out, again, as I said, I'd sort of based the image on my grandfather a bit, who I had known and been very close with when I was very young. I was burst into tears. I was so upset. And I've made
We
this
did
image.
the
of my
same.
We
grandfather.
did.
Like, no, it can't. It can't be. I can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It was actually. I had that. I had no idea I'd have that reaction. Someone who I'd never met, never would meet. Yeah, I've made a hero out of him. I was very disappointed and very upset,
Yeah.
and also knowing his daughter, and it was tough business.
Yeah.
It's it was heartbreaking. Yeah.
I think we had a very similar reaction because obviously it wasn't publicized anywhere. It's not on the 100th website.
No.
So I think, when our friend Cara said, hey, I'm just letting you know before you read it, this is what has happened.
Right.
And I think I was outside with my kids. So I'm outside with my kids, head in hand, crying over a man I've never met.
Right.
And I think Gabby had much the same reaction. It's incredibly heartbreaking.
I think I had to walk away. I was at work. I had to walk away from my desk. I wasn't prepared to read it. I had to get up and walk away. And I think a lot of it boils down to also you get all these different iterations of Bremen, right? You get it from Krause's perspective. And then if you read Lucky's book and Frank Murphy's book, you see it kind of in three different lenses from three different people. And it's all just the same. Charlie Villa was severely wounded.
Yeah, it never goes past that.
It never really goes past, Charlie Villa was severely wounded. But you get the impression, well, Charlie Villa survived the war. He went home after. He survived the war. Not really expecting, but then again, if you think about it, like hindsight is 2020, what really were veterans getting in the 40s? Not really what they're getting now. So it's a complete different, he was suffering, but they didn't have a name for it yet.
Yeah, it was
it was just shell shock, right? That's what they called
it. Flak fatigue, I think they called it. Black happy. There were a number of names for it. And it's definitely, I now know the specific details of what happened in the back of the plane. He was shot through the right, and it was a flak hit. Some parts of the flak exploded in his body and landed very close to his spine, and then it came out of his left buttock, paralyzed his left leg. He'd go on to have a surgery. Sorry, just let me see if I've written it down here. He was sent to Walter Reed Hospital in DC and operated by Colonel Sperling, I think his name was, who was the same man who'd operate on Patton. And it was one of the first nerve reconnection surgeries ever. So he got some of the feeling back in his leg, but he still had to have paralysis, I think, below his knee, and had to wear a spring-loaded shoe. There is a sort of happy story that came from this. That being said, Blakely told his wife, who was in the area, "Do you know anyone? Charlie's in hospital there, and he's on his own. Can you send somebody down?" And that's how he met his wife and mother of his children. in the
No
hospital.
way.
In there, yeah. So
Oh
that's
my
what happened.
gosh.
Yeah. Um,
Amazing.
and
Look at that.
he went on to become a lawyer, and he had I think this is I'm reading what was sent to me. He helped the JFK campaign. He was one of the managers of
Wow.
the a campaign to get JFK elected. And yeah, so that was, he had a full life after the war, and he went on to do
Yeah.
plenty. But obviously, those wounds were serious.
Yeah.
So,
Lifelong, yeah.
yeah, well, nerve pain like that, I think a lot of us have like got a trapped nerve or something. You get these
Mhm.
pulsing fevers that goes on your whole life, and every time you feel that ping of that nerve,
Yeah.
you're going to be right back where you started. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
sort of again, I can't really fathom it. The question I've been asking myself is what happens over the course of 22 years to
Yeah.
to
For it to get to that
To
point and
get,
for it to
yeah, to
feel
bring
that
you
bad.
mentally to that point where,
mental illness is
Yeah.
something that we just don't
yeah,
understand. As even now, as a human race, we're not there yet.
no,
No, absolutely not.
So it's a terrible thing. It's just there's not really a
Absolutely.
word in the English language which can describe it.
No,
no, it's
So
absolutely
tragic.
not.
It's
No,
tragic.
yeah, yeah.
it really,
Um,
really is.
but yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about did you ever shoot the Bremen sequence and was it cut or was it sort of you're gonna
So
have it and then we'll take it away?
yeah, it was going to be in episode 4, but it ended up being too similar to episode 5, and it was scripted out. It was ready to go. Lou Sparks, who I'm trying to remember his character name, played the left waist gunner. He
Mm.
had done the makeup test. He'd been put in the chair and had half his skin ripped off and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we were ready to go, and it was sort of a last minute. We got the call through episode 4. It's like, sorry guys, scene's cut. I think some of the guys were pretty devastated. I was just happy
Robbed.
to be there, so I didn't mind too much. But yeah,
That was,
we were going to go out to the field and see if we could go find the tree, and we were going to go park the plane in that tree, and do the whole business. It would have been fun to do, but it is what it is. We missed out on it. So. But I mean, because it's one Justice Snapham's an infamous story. I mean, boy, it's one of the
Yeah.
biggest stories of the whole.
yeah.
Well, it
That's why
deserved
we
a
were
film of its
so
own one day.
There's a
yeah.
whole section at the 100th at Thorpe Abbots if you go into one of the sheds. I don't know if you've been to.
No, I haven't. I wanted to.
I was there
Mm.
last year, or just around
Right.
this time last year, and there's a whole section dedicated just to Justice Knapp and just to Blakely's
Yeah.
crew, and it's the pictures of the plane in the tree. You don't
Yeah.
realize how forceful that plane came down and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
what the front of it looked like. I mean,
Yeah, it was smashed to pieces.
you
I'm
think
not only
about
that,
it,
I mean,
like had
everyone was
Douglas and
cut up.
Cross not moved, I think that would have been
Yeah.
yeah.
And Douglas had just been knocked out as well because he hadn't had any skin broken. He'd just been hit by flak. Had just come right through. I think it had hit his bomb sight. And
Yeah.
just as he was
Yeah.
leaning over the target, so he was delirious anyway. And then they're flying back hours to try and get back to England, but they're pulled to pieces. So
Oh yeah.
take out some. I think they took out 8 Messerschmitts.
Yeah,
That's
I think they
insane.
had the
That's
highest
crazy.
they had the highest single mission enemy kill
Yeah.
rate
Yeah,
for the
During
100th
that
for
time.
like the longest time, or like
yeah.
in general, yeah, which is
And the
crazy.
story was that that's why they were that's why the Luftwaffe went after the 100th so much, was because they were pissed off that one plane could inflict that much damage on them. That's one story. There's also another story that it was because there was a B-17 where they lowered their wheels, which was a sign
Yes.
of surrendering.
Surrender.
Yes,
then
the
they
friendly
still-
surrender.
Yeah, and as the fighters were coming in to guide them into landing, they still shot them out the sky. So there's a couple
Who did we
different
talk about
stories.
that with? That's gonna bug me. Was it Matt Mabe we spoke about
Might
that
have been with
Gabby
Matt Mabe that we
Yeah.
talked about
during our
that one
Bremen
with.
episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a lot of knowledge, that
Jeez.
man. He certainly
Matt
is.
Mabe
Yeah.
knows
He's
Matt Mabe
so
knows
good.
everything, and he'll just
Just
like
a good
come out
guy.
with random stuff, and it's like, where did you? How do you know
Yeah.
all this?
How does this happen?
Yeah.
How does this
Goodness,
happen?
I mean,
But-
it must be so difficult as well, because just imagine, the interrogation after the combat missions. All these guys are going to be shaking like mad. They're getting half cut of
Yeah.
whiskey and donuts, and these stories must be pouring out of them. How do you write this all
Yeah.
down? How do you get this all accurate? Thank God for the
Yeah.
navigator and those logs, but good Lord, it must have been real tricky stuff to, you know.
Even though the crash scene was cut, was there an interrogation scene planned as well for Blakely's crew
That I
post
don't
the crash?
know. So by the time let me think this through. So yeah, as I said, I joined production just before the boot camp started. So on the third day of boot camp, which was a Wednesday, last day of March, I got 3 scripts, which they said were the shooting scripts, but they still changed them, and I've got them right there. They had like different intros and stuff, and it was just those first 3 episodes. Boot camp finishes. We then have a day where we're doing movement coaching, learning to walk and dance in certain ways. And I took a meeting with Carrie, the director then, and he said that episode 4 was going to be your guys' big one. And that was sort of the end of it. I didn't want to read into it too much because, again, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. The whole production, it was huge, and it was messy, as any production is. So I by that time I'd been acting for 15 years. I already knew this is.
You knew it was what.
I take everything with a pinch of salt. Again, I'm just happy to be here. So
I'm just yeah.
I'm a massive history buff anyway, so I love history. I didn't know that much about this, but I knew a good bit anyway. So I was just there basically getting to do the reenactments and get paid for it. It was great.
Right? Yeah. I know that
get paid to do living history. Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly. I know that Spike in our educational system, we get the British side, we get the Blitz, we get rationing. We rarely get anything about the US and the friendly invasion. I grew up literally 10-20 minutes from Thorpe Abbots, and then I went on to marry an American airman who was stationed at Mildenhall, so literally on my doorstep. So you would think I would know more, and I didn't know more until I left England.
It's nuts, isn't it? I mean, because there's also the theme in the show and the theme in the books is that there was a bit of a fight between who had the most efficient way of killing
bombing,
the German war machine, and the RAF thought they were doing it best with their nighttime blanket bombings, and the US Air Force thought they were doing it with precision bombing. And still to this day, people are debating, was it even worth it? Personally, I look at the facts and I go, absolutely yes.
Right.
But historians are still going, did they need it? Is this? And there's a few episodes of the war, say Operation Thunderclap and Operation Gomorrah, which was the fire bombings of Dresden specifically and Hamburg, which are horrid and very unnecessary. And I generally tell people actually not to look that up because it's a bit too graphic. If you're not, history can be fun up to a point, and then the next thing you're looking at pictures of dead people.
It messes with your brain.
It does. It gets to you. There's been instances, right, where I've said I have to put this book down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that bit it's like that bit in Friends where she says to Joey, "Do you want to put the book in the freezer?"
Correct.
Sometimes I'm like, I have to put this down. I have to walk away. It's a lot. It could get to you. It's a lot.
Yeah, I had no idea about what happened in Hamburg or Dresden, and the first comment about Hamburg being that the only survivors were people who jumped in the river, because if you were in an air raid shelter, you exploded because the heat was too much.
Yeah.
And if you were in the river, you'd go mad anyway because the whole thing was so full of oil that eventually lit anyway. I grew up again. So my granddad was flying over Burma. He was in the Burma campaign, and he was a pilot of a Lancaster bomber. And he passed away when I was 4, so I don't really remember. I know he did tell me stories because I was even interested back then, but I hardly have any memory of it. Meanwhile, my grandmother, she was quite young during World War II, and she told me everything. She was giving me history lessons throughout the whole thing. I've even got a letter from my great-grandfather, her father, written to his brother from the front lines on VE Day.
Wow.
All of these things, and my grandma used to walk me around spots about a block from where I grew up here. There's the first ever V2 rocket landed, and it wiped out the neighborhood. So all of this history, I sort of the only blank spot I had was this. So to jump into it and get to know it all was amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow,
Amazing.
And it's so odd picking up these books as well, because when I read it, I usually read a book like a script. I picture it in my head and sort of have it all filmed and like a movie. And who I end up picturing, say we're reading about any of the guys, I see my friends, the guys from the show. You know, I see Gordon Colson when I read about Hambo and Hamilton, and I think about stories when he was one wing Colson because he banged up his shoulder before doing boot camp, and there were certain PT exercises he couldn't do. So when you read about these terrible things happening to your friends as well, and you're picturing your friends, even though you never knew the guys, you're like, oh, it makes the history
it too
very,
real.
It makes it too real, yeah.
Makes it
to
too
absorb
real.
yourself in, which is why I've got a very lucky perspective to have that. You know,
For
be able to see
sure.
people that I know and people that I love dearly, and you know,
Yeah.
be able to look at the history from that perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
I know that we would love to know about you guys still having such a great rapport. Was it like an instant bond that you guys made during boot camp, or was it like a slow burn?
No, it wasn't a slow burn. We all knew we were in the same boat, and I think once Captain Dye started talking, everyone's pants became a little bit heavier and a little bit browner. But you know, there were a few moments throughout the camp as well, which had sort of lifted spirits. For one, we were all nervous as all hell. We were really, really. Yeah, I mean, everyone, even Austin Butler was coming into this. He finished Elvis.
He'd just done Elvis, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks had given him
black
Clevin.
He still had the haircut. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I remember having lunch with him one day, and he was we were sort of just trying to put everyone on the same level. You know, us little guys and the big guys. There was no difference between us. While we were here, we were just people hanging out.
Just guys.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, at some points they had us playing baseball games together. There was one day, it was April Fool's Day, and I did something that's maybe a little cheeky. I decided that I'd pull a prank on the whole cast. And I went up to the director and I said, hey, I just had a thought, you know, why don't you say, look, there's been some changes, and if I have to call your name, I'm going to try and find you a new role, but there's a chance that I might not be able to. He stood in the formation at the end of the day, and I was so pleased. We had face masks on. I wouldn't have been able to hide the shit-eating grin I had slapped across my face. I was so excited. I remember when he got around to it, I said, if I call your name, please step forward. April Fool's Day here. Everyone started to charge him. He had to duck and point at me because everyone then charged me. And after that, it was a bit of a break, though. I think everybody after that turned around and was like, "Oh, thank God!" I mean, and you know, if everyone was nervous, then we're fine. We're fine. Everyone's in this together. We're all feeling the same things. Nobody's hung out with anyone in ages anyway because of the lockdown. So we're all good. Let's just have a good time now. And I think that was the fourth day of boot camp that had happened. It took a few days for everyone to settle down, and then after that,
get it together.
Like that.
So you were the troublemaker on set.
I wouldn't say I was the troublemaker on set. Well, I did like to, you know, screw around and have a good time. So,
yeah, of course you have to. Like, otherwise, where's the fun?
Especially if you're in chapel crew and doing nothing all day.
Doing nothing for 3 days, exactly.
Nothing for 3 days.
And my rule is to leave my phone in my trailer as well. So I mean, I was just sat there like.
You've got stuck. Yeah, you gotta
think of something
of things to do.
Yeah. I just remember sort of going, this leather smells different. This is sort of the only thing. I wish there was a mirror. I could maybe say that I look cool at the moment. Try and make conversation. How's the weather today?
How did that costume feel? Was it extremely heavy? Because the jackets always look heavy.
Very
I've got these aren't the ones I wore in the show, but these are Eastman's. I've got them here. This is the exact model of the A2 that I wore in the show.
I would love one.
This is horsehide. It's actually quite light and quite comfortable. I actually watch a lot of clips from, you know, like the original Memphis Belle film, the William Wyler film.
Yeah.
How the hell did you fly in that? You must have been freezing up there. But it was nice during the beginning of the shoot to stay in your sheepskin because this is lovely, and we did start shooting.
Look at that.
Eastman, if you're watching this,
she's gorgeous.
That is beautiful.
It's my daily
Eastman,
but you know,
Eastman, I don't want to sell a kidney. Give me one.
If you're watching this, Eastman, we're right here.
The costumes were very warm. You know, you had your let me try and remember this. You had a jumpsuit on, you had a bunny suit on, you had a t-shirt and some kind of trousers on. When you got under the layers and under the layers that you wouldn't see, it wasn't historically accurate anymore because there was no point. We
Right.
were just going to overheat. When we were out about shooting the actual outside stuff, it was okay. It was when we got to the volume that was when it got tricky. Because here we were in these kits, and it was multiple layers of flying gear, and the planes are these little tin cans under these bright lights in these huge studios, which are already quite warm. You got hot quick, and when I did the volume in that time, it got to the point where I was like, I had water with me, but I couldn't drink it because if I did, I was just going to be sick. It was like terrible.
Yeah, it was too hot.
And none of us wanted to, like, we were all so driven to film the damn thing that nobody would say that they weren't feeling well or step out. We were all just like, no, I'm doing it. Maybe at our own personal threat. I remember a medic coming up to me at one point going, brother, you need to stop. And I was like, no.
I'm almost done.
Happen. Yeah.
Let me just.
I've got a great picture. My skin's turned purple on one of the days because I'd gotten so hot, and I think something started going wrong in my body. But specifically,
Jesus,
the day that I'd shot the tail gun and stuff, that was tough because I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of the inside of the tail. There's like a bike seat in there.
Yeah.
That bike seat was at the lowest setting, and we couldn't get it up, so we just had to stack pillows on top of it. And
God,
the pillows after 10 minutes are too soft. I'm not tall. I'm only 5'8", but I'm too tall to be able to sit all the way up inside of the thing and just be able to sit on my knees. And I'm too short to be able to sit all the way down. So I had to do like this semi-half squat. And after 6 or 7 hours of that, it felt like I was in there for a century, but I didn't care. I was having a lot of fun. You know, you'd have to lean back in a funny position to stop yourself from cramping. And then, you know, you might get a 2-minute break while you change your costume. You'd eventually come out of there. I remember taking off all the flight gear, and it was heavy and wet. It was soaking wet.
God.
I couldn't really, because I'd been crouched for so long, my knees had all cramped up, and I couldn't, you know, they had to help me down off the platform. I couldn't climb down the ladder. So they were like doing uppies, like they were trying to catch you, you know. And then they walked me over to the makeup tent and gave me some more water, and I looked at myself in the mirror. I went, whoa, I didn't know I could look that rough. Yeah, it was like life of an accident. I mean, come on, get over yourself. But yeah, I walked out and I took off all my gear, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad for the wardrobe team.
Whoever has to clean it. Oh, Jesus.
And I've got a picture of the jumpsuit. It's you can see a distinct sweat pattern over the whole material. It was gross. And I came in the next morning to go throw on the flight suit again, and we all had one specific jacket, or you know maybe a couple, but they were the exact same. I had a size 38 Perry Sportswear B3, and when I put it on the next morning, it was still wet.
Gag.
Yeah, so it was pretty gross. Yeah. But I mean, hell, if I didn't have fun, I remember that day. I came home and I sort of tried to lift my legs up while I was making dinner and see if I was sat down, and they were so shaky. I went and sat on the couch and I put on The Great Escape because I was in a good mood and I thought I was done. And I watched The Great Escape and I just died on the sofa. I think I watched about 2 minutes. I didn't eat my dinner. I did pasta
out of it.
Fell all over my lap and on my couch, and that was it.
Just to add to the extra mess, you've now got to clean up even
you've now
more
got
stuff.
Food all over the couch,
all over the floor.
I woke up the next morning. I was like, I don't care. I'm done. I'm checked out.
I'm done. I'm tired. Did everyone else sort of fare the same? Was everyone else suffering alongside each other?
I don't know about other sections of the plane. I think they were cooler the bigger the space was. I imagine the cockpit stuff and the nose wasn't maybe too comfortable, but I wonder if maybe you know where the radio room was and the waist. Yeah, space to stand and move about, and there big windows and such. There was a door behind me, and then there was a plexiglass screen in front of me, and then there was tin all around me. And it was maybe the space was maybe 4 feet tall at top, so you could only crawl through it. You had no room to move your shoulders, so it was pretty uncomfortable. I went in after Dean Ridge, and he was unzipping everything and having to like put cold water on parts of his body because he was cramping up so bad. You could
Oh,
hydrate as much as
Jesus.
you want and eat as much potassium as you want. You're not going to stop cramping like that.
It's
It
not
was
gonna do that.
Yeah. But can you imagine what it must have been? I mean, I sat there doing that for a few days thinking, wow, this is tough, man. I'm a real tough guy. I'm feeling real cool right now. And then I thought, shit, imagine doing that, getting shot at, and
Yeah.
nowhere else to go the whole time.
Yeah.
You're in
And
the
you're
tin
just
can,
stuck in
and
there. You're in the air.
I mean, imagine the mission to Algeria. What? No.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sorry,
pretty,
I'm not
yeah.
doing it. I'm not doing it. That's
And like,
crazy.
Absolutely no thank you.
and for somebody, I guess, like Via, who was technically the co-pilot,
He was, yeah.
getting booted to the tail because, the command pilot was flying with your crew.
They made a kid.
You're like, you're prepared to sit in the front, and at least, like, you're in the front. You've got some space around you. Now you're booted to the tail. And who was it? Lucky, who did it once?
Yeah,
When we read
but John
Lucky's book,
Luckadoo did it
John
once or
Luckadoo did it
twice.
once.
Oh,
He got
yeah.
booted to the tail once, and he said, "I don't care if it takes me longer to finish my 25 missions. I'm never
not
flying
doing
in the
that
tail
again."
again. I'll
Yeah,
stand down."
There were a
He was
couple
a
things
big
as well.
dude too. He was
Tall. Lucky was
He
tall.
was a tall guy, yeah.
Yeah, Lucky was tall.
The tail usually was one of the most lethal spots for
Yeah.
the Luftwaffe. The tail had a high rate of success, so they'd go after it big time.
Right.
And coming from the side, obviously, you've only got so much room that you can shoot back there.
Yeah.
They were quite vulnerable, and so a lot of stories of the back tail just being sheared clean off the back of the plane, and you
Right.
don't have space for your parachute back there, so you're in free fall in the back of the plane, and that's it. It must have been absolutely terrifying, and I did take that into account. I remember quite a few briefing missions going, "Oh, Major Kidd or Major Egan will be flying alongside Blakely on this one," and just going, acting that out, yeah. So
Yeah. How did that feel for you to be given a role and research and say, "Oh, he's Blakely's co-pilot," and then you find out that you're pushed to the back every single
Pushed to the
time?
back of the tail. Yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to be there. I didn't care, but I didn't mind. I remember in boot camp, I didn't know yet. I didn't know what the
Right.
So
Right.
I learned the clock system twice. I know it back to front, and I still do. I did do a lot of work in the cockpit as well. I still learned to fly the damn thing. I mean,
Amazing.
loose words there. Learned to fly it. So I could get it off the ground. I could also get it back into the ground, but not in one piece.
That's it.
Yeah, I'd crash it before takeoff. That's for sure. But
Same.
yeah, so it was a lot of nerves building up to filming that day. I'd seen the state of everybody else coming out of the volume, going, "Are you all right, man?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay.
Whoa.
All right, I'm excited to
God.
get in
Oh
there."
my gosh.
So
Jeez, I'm excited to overheat and
Yeah,
be
I can't
yucky
wait to
Yeah,
cramp
yeah,
up and
yeah.
overheat in this
Yuck.
4-foot
yeah,
space.
the adrenaline is so high. You sat there going,
Right.
and my oxygen mask, the clip broke as I got in there, but you couldn't see it on camera. So they were like, "Oh hell, let's just
Leave
film
it.
it." But it was slightly loose on my face, and the whole time in between shooting at something and just trying to catch my breath, just naturally, I kept on plugging it onto my face, just trying to suck air
Oh God,
to
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
a hose pipe which isn't connected to anything. Yeah, that was pretty intense. And every time I was speaking, I remember having to grab the throat mic and do this and that. There was a lot going on. You had to think a
Yeah.
lot back there.
Oh, for sure.
You
Yeah.
overthink a lot as well. It kind of felt like a driving test. You know what I mean? You're back there and you're
Yes.
thinking so much. Got to get this right. Got to get this right.
Yeah.
And then we had an earpiece in, so they're barking directions at us as we're going. And we have, we were allowed to improvise and stuff. And that was a fun one. We had a copy of Wing and a Prayer on set, and I got the pages here, still folded for everything which references Charlie.
Oh.
And there was one bit in there. I don't know how far this went, but Crosby had mentioned that he had weird phrases. He'd say "Oh Mona."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered. Oh, I guess he might have. Probably was a religious man. Maybe he didn't like to shout, "Oh my God," or Jesus, or swear a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember turning around going, "Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to shout, 'Oh shit, I killed a Jerry,' or whatever like that. I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, 'Oh Mona.'" Yeah,
That's
cute. Got to
cute.
make up some other funny phrases. "Oh, what on God's green earth is going on down here?" or something like that. But
That's really cute.
That
I love
is
that.
Were you guys close as a crew? Like, did they keep you guys, the 10 of you, together?
Yeah, well, we had gotten to know each other from boot camp. Now we weren't, there weren't actually 10 of us. I don't think we had our own bull turret gunner.
Yeah,
And
Right.
I'm not sure if we
Yeah.
had a top turret gunner. So I think there was only 8 of us. But
Yes.
because of the way that the boot camp had worked and that we were,
Mhm.
you know, we all did have barracks, though we didn't stay in them because of COVID. We did tend to sort of not stick to our own groups, but we did get to know each other first before getting to know everyone else.
Right.
And we were directly under Callum Turner as Major Regan, and he was, you know, saying, let's do the real names first, get to meet each other, and then we'll sink into the
Okay.
characters.
Right.
So he sort of really helped because there weren't many of us in the 418 or any of the groups really.
Right.
Again, it wasn't the full cruise, and the cast wasn't fully fleshed out by the time that we were doing that. So our flight was finished, but the other forts I don't know about.
Right.
So yeah, we were close. I don't know if that was the case with everyone, but we were pretty close. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
You reading Cros's book and sort of getting to know more in depth about Via, even though you had already portrayed him.
So I picked up Crosby's book about it was not long after we'd finished boot camp. And yeah, I picked it up, and there were little things in there. I'd started filming already. At the beginning of that, I was chain smoking. Not in real life, I don't smoke, but I had these fake cigarettes. They just kept giving them to me, so I was like, okay, I'll keep smoking them then. Only to find out he apparently hated cigarettes. So I was just sort of like,
We just take that
throw
away. No, thank
hope it doesn't
you.
make the show.
No.
And there is one shot of me in the show lighting up a cigarette in the back of a Jeep, and I'm just like, ignore that.
Yes,
Not
there is. Ignore it. Ignore it on the next rewatch.
It's not there. But everything else other than that, after that, it was pretty easy to get the accurate stuff down. But you know, there weren't too many things which I could bring to it, given the scenes that I had. A lot of it was background work and stuff like that. But when it came to all the dialogue, it was very helpful. And again, it was this thing, as I was saying, I'm picturing my friends while I'm reading this. You know, it was a very odd thing to read at that point. Starting production, yeah. So that was fun.
I know that we do the same. I think we've read a Wing and a Prayer for 3, 4, 5 times at this point, and every single time when we go back and we see a name that we know, we're picturing the man that portrayed him, and it's quite jarring because, especially when you get to the parts of the book where obviously Bremen and they're seeing their friends be shot down, and you can see a real guy who is alive now in distress, and it's quite like especially during the description of Bremen in Cros's book, because I can see you and I can see Dave Shields and I can see Ed Ashley, I can see Anthony Boyle, and seeing these very real people to me in distress, especially now seeing you. And now we have like a friendship and a rapport. It's even more jarring because I'm picturing you.
Yeah, it's when I read the book, I actually picture Charlie. I see him instead of myself, but everyone else is my buddy.
Everyone else? Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about. Maybe some weird psychology there. I don't put myself into it too much, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
it's like a separation thing for sure.
Yeah, it's a degree of separation. Yeah, you know. It's yeah.
Like, delving into all the information, how did you feel at first? What was your first impression of like going through William Wyler's Memphis Belle and reading Masters of the Air and getting to read Cros's book? What were your first impressions of these men?
Well, the first thing that we saw was on one of the days of boot camp, we watched a few training / propaganda videos from the time.
Love
and
those.
They were all kind of, you know, acted up. They did have Hollywood stars in them and stuff like that. Yeah. Memphis Belle, I didn't watch till much later. In fact, I only watched it 2 months ago. For the first time, I rewatched it. Watched it for the first time while rereading Masters of the Air. And that was really interesting to see. But I'd seen quite a bit of archival footage. Most of the work came from pictures, and like I've got some great pictures of the guys in Algeria.
Oh
on the
yeah.
day off in
Yeah.
Algeria. I've got some really fun stuff there, and yeah, it was sort of coming in from there. But again, as I said, I also based a lot of my thought of these men off my own grandfather, because I was just thinking the whole
Right.
time, like when I was a kid, as I said, I don't really remember him, but I remember how he made me feel. He was a man who
Mm,
wanted everyone to feel safe, happy, and loved all the time. That was it. And he walked into a room,
mm,
and that was the feeling that was in the room, despite the fact that he was
yeah.
83. He was about 6'2" or 6'3". He could kick his own height, and he was in great shape. I mean, he was a real great man. His name was Harold Jeffrey Wilkin, um,
Oh,
and he made such an impact on me throughout my childhood. And as I grew up, my brother and sister, who are both older, knew him a lot better, and
Mhm.
they were always saying how great he was, and I kind of I felt like I missed out. So I put that directly into masters. That's where my passion for that came from, and for these
yeah,
guys,
for sure.
trying to bring it to life. I was sort of trying to, touch the face of my grandfather, who I was never going to meet.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
and I was
amazing.
also at
Yeah.
the time doing it for my grandmother as well, because she was desperate to see it. And sadly, she passed away about 2 or 3 weeks before the show came out. She's
Oh,
Oh my
devastating.
God.
One of the last conversations she had with me was, "Those boys in Hollywood better bloody hurry up, otherwise I'm going to miss it."
Oh my
oh,
God.
But she had a great sense of humor about it,
Bless
man.
her.
Yeah,
oh,
she was really funny. I have to say, I wonder if she would have been a bit frightened by it anyway. So I didn't
She
mind too
may have
much.
been, but I think seeing you, she would have been so
yeah.
proud. She would have
Yeah,
loved it.
I'd hope so. She got to see all the pictures, and hold on, where'd I put my notebook? It's somewhere over here. Sorry, just give me a second.
You're fine. Go
This
ahead.
this folder here from this is the paper bag that they first delivered my scripts in. There
Oh,
you go.
amazing.
What?
In
That's
here, I've got
original.
yeah, it certainly is. In here, I've got call sheets. I've got documents about anatomies and missions. I've got
My God, you kept everything. I
oh,
love
everything. I have
this.
absolutely everything. I've got my audition script here, the sheet of paper they gave us when the show came out, along with the medallion. That's in there.
Amazing.
Here's diagrams of the planes that I drew, so that I knew where my eye line was while I was filming.
Wow.
So I had all of that. Um, but oh, that's why I couldn't see it. It's because it was right bloody in front of me. Um, I had this notebook here, which is what we had in boot camp. And everyone in boot camp used to take the piss out of me, because they said, "I've never seen someone write so much." Um, but this is everything that we had learned in the 2 weeks of boot camp, written down. And at the end of each week, I'd run down to my grandma's house, and I'd sit down on her sofa, and I'd read her the whole thing, so that she knew what was
Oh
going
my
on,
God.
so
Oh,
she'd get her fill of history as well.
That's so great.
I
It
love
was it was
this.
I
fun.
really,
It was
really
good
love
fun.
that.
She loved that.
Oh my God.
I
So
love that you've kept everything. I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people don't do that. I feel like to a lot of people it could have just been a job
Yeah.
and that was
well,
it.
that was the thing. It was a job, and when I got the phone call that I was going to do it from my agent, it was one of these things where I was like, right, this
Cool.
is a
Thanks.
once in a lifetime experience. No, not
Yeah.
quite full length. Yeah, I was like, I don't care what the show turns out to be. I don't care
Right.
whether or not I'm in it. I might not be in it. And at first, I didn't. That was my initial reaction to the phone call. I didn't even know that I was going to be playing a guy called Charles Ashton Vere.
Mm.
So I was just like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can. And I took everything home with me, because this is one of the things that I can always say that I did. I'll tell my
Right.
Yeah.
kids about Master Year one day, and that was
Yeah.
it was a real treasure of an experience for me. I've had other jobs along the way as well, which I've enjoyed, but this one was more than that. I mean, I could tell you about my favorite day was we were at Abingdon Airfield, and we'd been there all day, and it was one of those dog days. We just knew we weren't going to shoot anything. We were filming some of the landing in Algeria, and it was towards the end of the day. Sun was starting to go down. I was sat on this oil drum out on the runway, and further down, Austin was shooting his landing, and they
Mm.
were carting a wounded man out of the plane, throwing him on a jeep, and driving him away.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And Dara came up to me, and he asked me, "Spike, are you okay? You've been sat here on your own for a long time." And he thought maybe I was upset about something, maybe someone had said something.
Mm.
And I said to him, "Dude, look at where we are."
Oh.
And in complete silence, one at a time, one of the guys would come up and join us, and they'd tell the
Oh.
next person, "Dude, look at where we are. Dude, look at where we are." And
Oh my
it was Nathan
God.
Kelly's birthday, and the pictures on my Instagram. We'd all ended up sitting down on these oil drums, and we took a photo all together that day with the sunset behind us. And I often think about that moment. I remember looking to my right and seeing Jonas Moore. He was only in his bunny suit and capturing every single detail, because I was like, I'll never forget this. This is so mad. I'm like, here on. It doesn't matter what the hell happens tomorrow. I do not give a damn today. It was just all about doing the shoot at the time. That's all I cared about. And it was
that
a
is
lot of
so
fun.
sweet.
I
So it
love
was a good
that.
That's
mindset.
beautiful.
It is.
That's beautiful.
I don't know if it was like that for everyone. So I just knew I was trying to just lock in and enjoy it at the time.
Yeah, you had a really, really special time, and I love that. And I think
Yeah.
you and Dara especially, like you had such a great time doing it that it's
Yep.
so
Me and him were also
special.
You walked away from it like fulfilled and appreciative,
Yeah.
and it's
we were
so
also
nice
both
to
quite
see.
local as well. We helped. Dara often organises the reunions that we do, and I'd done the big prank and boot camp. He'd gotten the gift for the drill sergeants to say thank you for all your work that you've done. He set up the parties. Between the two of us, we kind of made a big stink. But,
You're in charge of the party committee,
Right, but
love
you keep
that.
it moving. Like you keep them.
Yeah,
You keep each other together. Like, which is you don't.
Do you guys get to do it a lot? I know everyone's so busy and doing their
not so
own
much these
thing.
days. No, the last time we all saw each other was in well, it was the premiere, and we all went out. I remember trying to get into a night. Well, I remember. I don't remember much, but I remember trying to get into a nightclub underneath Soho with everyone going, "Let the Masters boys in!" Complain to everyone. At some point, I wake up and I think I was in a drug bar. I was like, "Where the hell am I?" It's 5 in the morning.
How did I get here?
I need to get out of here. I don't know what the hell's been going on. One or too many martinis. I don't know what had happened. But
always the case.
It was one hell of an evening. And before that, we'd gone to a bar in Battersea and we'd all met up there and stuff like that. I'm going to see if I can try set another one up this year, because I think it's about time we all saw each other again. But again, everyone's spread out all over the world now. I don't know what the hell, where the hell everyone might be.
Where everyone is, what everyone's doing,
a message and say, "Hey, pal, let's sort this out. Let's do this again." So
please do.
That'd be nice. I really do often count myself going, "Damn, I miss those guys."
Yeah.
That's
what
very, very
Jonas Moore not
sweet.
too long ago as well, because he's a musician as am I. I lent him a bass, and we were just briefly hanging out and chatting. It's one of these things where it's a special friendship, though we're not the closest people on the planet. We pick up where we left off. There's no, it could be 10, 15 years before I see someone. I'll be like, "So remember that?" And that'll be it.
That's
we'll be
really sweet.
right where we were, which is really nice.
I really like that.
I think it's a testament to the boot camp and just the nature of these shows. Because if you look at people like, you look at the Band of Brothers cast, look at the guys from the Pacific, and now look at you guys are all across the board. You guys are family, and you all talk about each other like, this is my family. And it doesn't have to be that I saw them yesterday, I can see them in 10 years. If they call, I'm there, type of thing.
Yeah, you can't. We just cold message each other all the time, and some of us knew each other beforehand as well, because it's a small world.
Right.
England.
Yeah.
Say Ben Radcliffe. I'd gone to school with him.
Yeah.
So we actually
I went to college with Tom Francis, who did Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
I went to college with him, and he has been friends with Ben since forever. And I didn't know this until about a year ago, that Tom and Ben were friends. So again, it's a case of everyone knows everyone.
I remember,
and it haunts me.
It's no secrets in this world.
Exactly.
I remember on the third morning of boot camp, everyone's groggy as all hell. We're getting a pure protein diet. You guys need to put some muscle on. You look like you've been in COVID for a year. And we would. I overheard someone saying, "Yeah, I went to this school." And I was like,
"Wait a minute,
did you? I don't recognize you." I was trying to figure it out, and all of a sudden it clicked. I was like, "Oh my god, you're Ben Radcliffe! You son of a gun! You look a lot better than you did back then." It's like it's him again. And he was like, "Wow, Spike, you're still just as annoying and just as still a pain in my ass." But he's So it was nice.
That's beautiful though.
Yeah.
It's always Ben, isn't it?
And it's always Ben.
It's always Ben. we had to cut, and I'm gonna have to cut this out too, but we had to cut out.
We'll cut this out.
We'll cut this out because Darrow was like, please don't throw me under the bus. I'll tell you, but you have to cut it out.
And we
That
did.
they had run a whole scene, there was planes coming in, and they were, okay, cut. And then somebody looked back at the frame and said, that kid's wearing a mask. And it was
Kid's got a
Ben.
mask on. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and it was
remember
Ben.
that. Yeah.
It was so he like Darrow went to tell us the story and he was like, I can't tell you, I won't tell you. And I'm like, please, you can't like put me in and
Yeah,
then
you pulled us
yoink
in.
me out. And he said,
That
okay,
was
but
a
you
fun one,
you have to cut it out. And we were like, we promise.
Yeah, that
And
was
yeah,
funny. That was the day that we were shooting when we arrived in the base in Greenland, I think. And
oh wow.
Austin bursts through the door and he starts walking through, and Ben has a pipe in his hand, and he goes to open it and he bangs it against his mask, and he's like,
Oh shit.
and
Oh
then
no.
they go, "Oh, that's really good."
No.
And then they rewatch it. That kid's got his mask on. Like
Even funnier when there's more context. It's
Yeah.
funnier now I know the point of
Yeah,
Now, yeah, that he was trying to smoke his pipe.
and he just
that was really funny. Yeah, because I was
Oh my
shooting with Nathan Solly at that point, and so we'd all scattered all across the room. That was so funny. I think he got away with it. I don't think he got caught that it was him. He put it off and tucked it in his
like,
pocket. And
Jesus.
Because the pipe doesn't give away that it's him, right?
well, apparently not. Yeah, the one character who smokes a pipe, but
The
there
one
you go.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got away with it.
Were you on the Jeeps driving out for that
Episode one,
first?
yeah.
You were?
Yeah. Oh man, now that was I think my second favorite day. I was just thinking about that today as well. Because with Ben, I was in the back seat next to Ed Ashley and David Shields, and I sort of turned to Ed and said, "Can you hold on to my legs? I'm going to lean out halfway through," and just like lean out of the Jeep, and I was literally hanging off the back of it,
Oh god.
waving
Oh
my
my
hat
God.
around. And Ben had said to me after one of the takes, he turned around and went, "Spike, it was bizarre. For a second there, I was actually transported through time. I was like, whoa, what am I seeing here? This is bizarre." And it was
Oh god.
it was really a sweet moment. And that day as well was a hay fever gate. We all got very sick because we drove through this tall grass, picked up all the hay fever. I remember Elliot Warren and Jonas Moore's eyes swollen shut. So we ended up all just having to lie down on the blacktop and just sort of wait to calm down.
Oh
I think
my
we all
God.
popped
Oh
about
jeez.
6 or 7 antihistamines trying to feel a bit better, and then just carried on. And by the end of it, we'd all screamed so loud that me and Ed Ashley were doing Bruce Springsteen impressions.
Oh god. Please, is there video of that? I
No,
need
there's
that.
no video. That was the thing I realized by leaving my phone in my trailer for the whole shoot. I missed out on a massive thing, being able to tape all of this.
Oh.
But there
Absolutely you
are
did.
there, yeah.
Oh
But,
yeah,
hey,
for sure.
They're still up here, so I still remember it all. But
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
that was fun. Yeah.
One of the last things we wanted to ask was, how has the experience changed you as an actor or changed you as a person, or even both?
This is an odd one, right? When production finished, for me it was in November. I went home that night, and one of my closest friends said, "Hey, I know you've just wrapped. Come down to the river. We'll grab a drink." And we went down to the river, and we just wanted to, hang out. And he was like, immediately like, "You're about to be very unhappy." I was like, "What? Why?"
Calm down,
he
yeah.
figured it out, yeah. And the thing is what I realized is that we had a very unique experience in the middle of another very unique experience. So the COVID and then the Masters stacking up on top of each other. By the time we'd wrapped, everything was over. People were back out in the open world, things were normal again. And I think after that, there was kind of this. I understood the after part of it, sort of trying to just get back to normal, but having lost a massive sense of purpose.
Yeah.
So after that, and that's not something I realized, that's not something I can recapture with any other job. That was a specific Masters
Very
thing.
special, yeah.
But for me, it made me kick my history stuff into overdrive. And I went nuts. I mean, I went digging through my family's history of everything World War II. And I mean, I've got something here. This is a picture of my grandfather here.
Oh, look at him.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And over here, this is a really crazy one. I have a letter from my great-grandfather to his brother That's the VE Day letter that I was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hardly read it, but that's it
Oh,
there.
wow.
Wow.
That is amazing.
If you want me to read that out to you, I certainly can. I've got the whole thing.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got
Yes.
underneath his war medals as well. I got everything out for you guys.
Incredible.
Yeah,
This is
so
great.
again, some of it was a little bit hard to make sense of.
Mm.
But I'll just go ahead. I'll give you some context as we go. So he was part of the British Liberation Army. Cynically, they call it the Burma Looms Ahead group
Wow.
in
Love that.
1944 because they thought they were going to go to the Pacific.
Mm.
So I'll just go ahead. So, dear Fred, his older brother, it's over at last. What a relief it must be for them all at home. I've been on a 2-day jag and I'm suffering a little from alcoholic remorse at the moment. Nellie, who was his wife, my great grandmother, Nellie tells me that she can hardly believe it and she's still waiting for the odd bang or two. What a life they've had all these years and how well have they stood up to it. It can never happen again, could it, mate? It will. Sorry to tell you, Gramps. But there were many wild scenes in this little part of Belgium. On top of trams, so many on jeeps that you couldn't see the car. Fireworks, bonfires, neon lighting, full blaze. Very stirring old sun, and you couldn't walk along without catching the spirit of war. Now the quiet side, and we are sorry. Is that a typo? Sorry. Now the quiet side, and we are holding a Thanksgiving service on Sunday. I broke my specs on V-Day, but don't know how. He was blind as a bat.
No.
These confounded issue glasses are pressing my eyeballs in and pulling my ears off at the same time, quite apart from the holes which they dig in either side of my nose. I'm looking forward to getting some snaps from you. That sounds like a good camera roll that you've bought. Camera. That sounds like a good camera you've bought. That makes sense. Of course, like all my boys, I want to know when the WO is going to let us go. Let me just see. The War Office, of course. Yeah, the WO is going to let us go. I hear today that the 1 to 30 are off. My number on the get out list is 19, so you won't be long after me, old cock. I think it would be good for everyone if a maximum time for different numbers was given and that we had something to look forward for. However, we mustn't forget our commitments in the East. There is another bastard there to knock out, although I don't think our services will be required on the spot. Here's hoping anyway. I want to see what sort of family I have got. Now, he'd met my grandmother, but he hadn't met my great uncle. So that's just the craziest thing I've ever read. I want to see what kind of family I've got. Can you imagine leaving and when you come back, you've got a 4-year-old at home? I can't wrap my head around that.
Must have been crazy, yeah.
I have very little news for you, old boy, until the censorship is lifted. Anyway, I didn't intend to be a longer letter, just one for VE Day. So I'll sign off now. All the very best, boy. Your loving bro, Burn. Love to V. I'm not sure who that is. We don't have much information on Fred. But there you go.
Wow.
That's
Family
beautiful.
history there for you. I thought that was a fun one to find, and found that in my grandmother's attic, and it's just this scrappy old little piece of paper right here, but it's the original one. So this one,
And they kept it.
yeah, and it's still got the glue holding the pages together. Thank God. But yeah, 11th of May, 1945.
That's
Isn't that
amazing.
fun? Yeah,
That's
put that
incredible.
back.
That's amazing.
I get shaky when I hold it because I'm so worried about accidentally ripping it.
Yeah, you're like, what if I rip it? What if I
Yeah.
crease it? What if
If you look at that paper one, it just explodes in your hand.
No, for sure.
Do you feel like investigating like your own family history, did that give you the sense of purpose post masters? Was that something that like really spurred you on to not go into the come down of it?
It made me manage to sort of spread out the depression that would hit. I think it was definitely not a fun. No, that's a lie. I did so much stuff that next year. My brother and sister's band went on tour with Kiss, so I was running around. Yeah, I was running around doing whatever I wanted to. I was backstage at all these great arenas and stadiums. They went on tour with the Who as well, and it was great. But at the same time, I was not a part of something anymore. I don't know. It was an odd thing to get around. And I also wondered if that was one of the things that made me so upset about Charlie's passing, because I was like, as we said, 22 years goes by. How do you figure this out?
How do we get there?
That lack of brotherhood eventually would split you up and sort of change the way you think. Now, obviously, it's a microcosm of anything that those guys experienced, but came out of it and it was just over. And just as it was over, we weren't really allowed to talk about it. And it had all happened it had taken place over such a long time and then had ended so quickly. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
shit, what now? Yeah, so that's where
Yeah, what
my
happens now?
yeah, that was where my headspace was that night, and I was
Yeah,
with Louis on the river, and
absolutely.
he was like, "I'm gonna be here for you. Any day you need me, just give me a call." And I was like, "I appreciate
Oh,
you, man."
that's
And
really sweet.
yeah, so it was important to have people around you. But yeah, so we'd reach out to the guys every now and then. I think
Yeah.
the last proper reunion we did, I can't remember who it was, but one of the guys came up to me and he went, "Spike, what happened to you? You disappeared." And apparently I just vanished off the face of the earth. I didn't want to see or talk to anyone. I was so gutted
Yeah.
about it. I just disappeared. I didn't even know I'd done it. They turned around and they were like, "Spike, you sort of gone up 2 chest sizes and vanished. What happened?" And you know, it was like nothing had changed. Just 2 years had gone by, and yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. So
I
crazy,
love that.
crazy.
I love that they
Yeah,
noticed as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
It's a
know,
testament to how close you
it was,
are.
you know, you take a step away from it and you overthink things and you think that people
Yeah.
probably didn't want you around or something. I was worried because I was so much younger than everyone, but it just wasn't the
Mm.
case. And
No,
it was
not at all.
it was an odd thing to move through. And then once you get your head around it, you're fine. But at the time, I was just
Yeah.
like, what is going on? What is
What
my
do I
life?
do?
So,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we go, what are you up to? What's next
Yeah.
in the acting game?
Nothing
What's going
I'm
on?
legally allowed to talk about, I'm afraid.
Those are my
Yeah,
favorite answers.
yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And
Can we
not
have a
just acting
hint?
stuff as well. Ooh, studio work. I'll leave it at that. There's not
Studio
much I
work.
can talk
Okay,
about yet.
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it. I'm
Everyone just
afraid
keep
that's
an
it.
eye
All you're
out.
gonna get from me. Yeah, I'll let you know as soon as
Wonderful.
I'm allowed to talk about it. But
Yes,
until then,
please.
my mouth is shut. So we'll see where we're going.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
I
We
love
can't
it.
wait to
Those
see.
those answers are our favorite, especially for you guys, because you all did such an excellent job and you deserve
That's
every
great.
job in the world. And
We're
yeah,
also
that's
all
very
incredibly
exciting.
talented and incredibly humble. We are the best, incredibly humble people. So
And then you've got us to sort of feed you more and more of that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes.
you're
My ego
smashing,
is
you're great.
perfectly normal, I'll have you know.
Thank you, Spike, so
Thank you
much for
so
doing this with
much.
Yeah,
us.
thank
We
you
had
for
a
having me.
great
It was real
time.
treat.
We had
I've
so
never done a
much
podcast
fun.
before, so that was
Of
fun.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right.
Um, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you all real soon.
Thank you. Bye.